Welcome to the channel where I make your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about my Grade 2 Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now this video is all about answering some of the query I've been receiving in the past, well, probably years. Obviously we have been through a very exciting 2022, and the opening up of the skill migration of Australia has officially been bumped up and open, and over the past 9 months, should I say, there has been a lot of invitations, a lot of changes, state and territory, and also the federal government, as we have experienced raining down of subclass 189, which you haven't really seen back in the 2020 and 21. So what do we need to do? And there has been a lot of people, they're currently holding certain visas. Now the question is, so this video is all about answering that question, whether or not they should really put in an expression of interest and are eligible to actually change and lodge another visa should they actually being receiving invitation, because we have actually experienced the duplication of invitation, which we have recommended everyone to do. You know, you put your 190, you put your 491, you put your 189 separately, so end up with a lot of invitation. They probably has been duplicated, but can you choose, or if you have already accept one invitation, can you abandon that and accept another one? So this is the question. This is the question that a lot of people ask, and I want to address that as well, and also give you preferences which one should really be taken. Okay, now the answer to this is yes and no. Why do I say that? There are certain visa holders cannot actually do that, but most visa holders nowadays, or perhaps you're offshore, you don't even hold a visa yet, of course you are eligible to actually accept multiple invitations and choose between them. Now if you already got a visa, for example you are a student, or you're on temporary working 482 or 485 visa, or whatever the visa, working holiday visa that you're holding with the subclass starting with 4, no problem. Of course you can actually put an EOI in, as long as you have met the criteria and you've been invited. Of course you can actually change, and once you get invited you lost that visa. Now the second question here is, if you already got invited, for example you get invited by 190 and then somehow you get invited again on 189, now what do you do? Okay, now key here is we need to look at two things. Obviously I will really prefer 189 over 190, because you don't have to sign up some sort of commitment to whatever the state that is, because usually, because 190 is a state nomination skill migration, so generally a state or territory government will ask you to sign something that, I will stay in this state for the next 24 months, blah blah blah, and get some work and things like that. But 189 obviously don't have that. So obviously if there's a preferences to be picked, you will pick 189 over 190. But here is another little hint and trick here. If you already lodged 190, for example, and you already been requested by immigration, and obviously you have been nominated successfully by a state, and you have been requested to do medical and thing, and you've been waiting for a couple months already, and seems to be you're already on the final line to actually get across to get the visa granted, then I would say probably just stay with 190, because you almost get it. Because if you wanted to lodge another 189, first of all, that's cost a lot of money, especially if you have family, you got dependent, you got spouse, and you got kids. That's another load of visa charges again, and you get the same result because 190 and 189 is both permanent residency anyway. Now the third question here that I usually get is the if I have other invitation, for example 491, and should I really wait for another 190 or 189? Now that is the toughest questions. It really depends on the state and whether you really like to stay in that state. For example, I get commonly asked for applicants in Tasmania, and they get a little 491, and they don't really, I haven't really seen many 190 nomination in Tasmania because Tasmania really want you to stay in Tasmania. Okay, so you get invited by Tasmanian government under the subclass 491. Should you wait for 190 or 189? Now, look, my answer to this will be, if you really if you're really happy about staying in Hobart or the state of Tasmania, why not? Just pick it and accept it and go through 491, because once you hold it, 3 years later you'll be eligible to transform yourself into a permanent residency anyway. Now, if you really do not really like to stay there, perhaps go to other state, or then you really need to consider the points that you have. Now, if you're only barely reaching 65 or 70 points, then I would say, look, just stay with 491, okay? But if you have very high points, for example, above 75 or even over 80, then I think giving a chances for 190 of other states or 189 for the federal government, the Department of Immigration, Independent Still Migrations, then that will be an opportunity there. But you still need to pick your choices wisely, because there are people waiting and there is no guarantee. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, last but not least, let's go through one of the visa category, no, actually two, which was invented by the former government. One is subclass 491 and the other one is subclass 494. Now, why do I want you to actually look into these two visas? Because once you hit and select and accept and being granted with subclass 491 or subclass 494, one of the things that you've been stranded with, I've actually done a video on this one, but I want to just recap again in this video in 2023. Once you click on about this visa, you may find out this. Now, it's the same as this one. If we go on this one, you may find out pathway to permanent residence. Now, that's exactly the same. Okay, so which page do you prefer? Anyway, let's do on this one. Okay, right. So what did it say? Let me spell it out and explain what it is. It says, if eligible, you can apply permanent residency after you held 494 or 491 for 3 years. Well, that's blah. Okay, that's you need to apply for 191. You become a permanent resident. Now, the key here is the second point. It says, unless you have held 494 for 3 years, holder of this visa, either 491 or 494, they are the same. Okay, it says the same. Okay, unable. The key here is, if you have hold this visa within 3 years, you are unable to make any of the following visas. That's partner visa, the business innovation, business talent, employment nomination 186, or independent, or even 190, or global talent, so that you actually get restrained to transfer into another permanent residency visa. Not even if you get married to an Australian citizen, you can even lodge it within that 3 years. Not if you have something so innovative that had given a lot of Australian economy rights, you cannot actually go over that one. So the 491 and 494 are the only two which were the visas invented by the former government, and obviously the key here, they want these skilled migrants to stay in regional area. So don't move, don't go around, and you cannot, because once you get permanent residency, you can move around. You can go around under the Constitution of Australia. You have freedom of movement. You can go around, and under these two visas, subclass 491 and 494, if you already been granted and you hold this visa, unfortunately, from the starting of your granting day, counting 3 years, you cannot change anything. Even if you get invited, whatever you have, you cannot change anything. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.